What if I told you the TOEFL you knew no longer exists?
In January 2026, the TOEFL test changed. The structure changed. The length changed. The scoring completely changed. Even the name TOEFL now means Test of English for Fearless Legends. I think. If you've taken TOEFL in the past, you might not recognize it anymore. It's that different. If you have used TOEFL textbooks, videos, lectures, and other test prep resources, forget them. Get rid of them. Burn them. No, don't burn them. Let's recycle them. And recycle your knowledge because it's time to learn the TOEFL test all over again. In this video, I'm going to tell you about all the major changes and what you need to know about TOEFL today. Remember the old TOEFL test? Okay, now forget it. Hey, I said forget it. No, stop remembering it. Stop it. Stop. Okay. The TOEFL test structure is totally different now. Task types have changed. The time for each section changed.
The world has changed.
But mostly just TOEFL. And that means your strategy has to change. The new TOEFL test might feel like a completely new experience. And you don't want a new experience. You want to know what to expect, to be ready for whatever comes your way. Because TOEFL is the test of English for fearless legends, or so I've heard. And fearless legends like yourself have the confidence to earn a top score. You wouldn't want to come to the test unprepared, and to be honest, you'd rather not afford to. Not at the cost of admission to take a single TOEFL test these days. You need fresh eyes and an open mind to rise up to the new challenge. So let's get into it. The new TOEFL test is shorter, about 90 minutes or less. That's good news, right? That's good news, right? A shorter test feels like a relief, but every minute still counts. And with fewer minutes, every minute counts more. If you go in expecting the old TOEFL format, you might run out of time. You need to know the length of the sections and about how many questions to expect. Which questions take longer, which require more time and attention. And don't forget, there are new tasks and new rules. You don't want to show up unprepared, only to spend precious minutes learning the new rules during the test. After all, time is money, and the TOEFL test takes time and money. But you know what saves you time and money? A free practice test. I wonder where we could find one. Complete the words. Build a sentence. Read in daily life. What does it mean? These are some of the names of tasks and question types in the new TOEFL. No more integrated tasks. No more 300-word long essays. I know, don't be sad. You can still write all the 300-word essays you want, but nobody will grade them. It's time to show off some new skills, like how to respond politely and appropriately to a professional email, or how to form a critical opinion in an academic discussion. These new tasks need all new strategies. And since TOEFL uses AI now to evaluate speaking and writing responses, the AI is looking for certain keywords, phrases, and structures. You know, wouldn't it be nice if there was an AI system you could practice with that gave you feedback on your answers? Hey, that reminds me of something. Alright, my last TOEFL test, I got a 108, and then I got a 113, so let's see how many points I got this time. 5? 5 points? Where did the 100 go? My English must be terrible. Cut the feed, cut the... The biggest and most shocking change to TOEFL is the new scoring system. If you don't like double and triple digits, I have great news for you. TOEFL is now scored from 1 to 6 with half-point scores. That sounds much simpler, right? It's not. Think about it. The difference between a score of 4 and a score of 5 is now massive. It's almost like the difference between 80 and 100 on the previous test. And because of the shorter length, each question now has a bigger influence on that score. By the way, there's also some hidden math going on. When you can only get a maximum of 6 points, but there's 20 questions, each question is worth less than a point. If you get all 20 questions right, you get a grade of 6. But what if you only get 19 questions right? Then what? The test rounds up or down to the nearest half point. And some questions are worth more points than others. So easy, right? The new TOEFL test is alive. It's thinking, and it's thinking about your answers. Spooky. The new TOEFL reading and listening sections have adaptive modules. What's adaptive? What's a module? What's a TOEFL? TOEFL is the test of English for fearless legends, I think. So there's no reason to fear adaptive modules. The reading and listening sections each have 2 parts, or 2 modules. Each module has its own set of questions. In Module 1, everyone gets roughly the same set of questions. But not for Module 2. It's adaptive. In real time, the test looks at your scores for Module 1. If you did well, you get upper Module 2. It's harder. If you miss some points, you get lower Module 2. It's easier. The test adapts to how you're doing on the test. So I know what you're thinking. It would help to know ahead of time how to identify these modules. If only there was some service with free practice tests you could try. So let me get this straight. The new TOEFL test has some questions that are unscored. Let's call them dummy questions. They don't count at all toward my score. If I get them right, my score doesn't go up. If I get them wrong, my score doesn't go down. I don't have to answer them. I can skip those questions. Except, I don't know which questions are dummy questions. As far as I can tell, they look like regular questions. If it's actually a dummy question, I won't know. I might get a lot of dummy questions. I might get no dummy questions. What do I do? Simple. Answer all the questions. If you get them right, you lose nothing. Just try your best and don't worry. Dummy questions don't really matter. I'm just letting you know that they're there. Tell me, do you like my voice? I mean, not just my voice, but you can understand me, right? You're used to American English, and that's what I speak. For a while, you would hear voices like mine on the TOEFL listening and speaking sections. But now, there's a greater mix. You might hear someone from Australia. You might hear someone from New Zealand. You might hear someone from the UK, and somebody else from another part of the UK. But it's not just about the pronunciation of words. Did you know British people often end questions with a lowered tone? Isn't that confusing? It sure can be. You need to train your ear to other accents so you won't get confused. English is, after all, a global language. But I've got some good news about some free practice TOEFL tests where you can listen to other accents. A new TOEFL. Shocking, isn't it? But now that the shock is over, it's time to take on the challenge. After all, this is the test of English for fearless legends, and that's who we are, aren't we? We're up to the challenge. After all, language changes all the time. Why not language tests? It just means all those old TOEFL books, can't use them. The lectures, not relevant. The online classes and resources, outdated. That was all fine and good for the old TOEFL, but old TOEFL is in the past. We need new answers and new test prep strategies. Which, by the way, welcome to TestGlider. TestGlider offers complete mock tests based on the new TOEFL. You'll find content and difficulty that's just like the latest actual exams. Plus, TestGlider uses AI scoring, so you'll get instant scores and feedback. You can see answer explanations, speaking and writing model answers, and tips on each test section. TestGlider will help you identify your weaknesses and track your progress over time so you'll be prepared for the real TOEFL test. You'll get the highest quality test prep content, speaking and writing corrections, and real-time chatbot tutoring. Why not check it out for yourself? Take a sample test for free. See what you think. The journey starts here, fearless legends, so let's get started.